Hello, welcome to my channel, The Fisherman and His Wife Story. Once upon a time, a fisherman and his wife lived in a cottage near the sea. The fisherman went to the sea every morning to catch fish. One day he was fishing with his hook. His hook was pulled into the water. The fisherman pulled up his hook with difficulty and suddenly saw a strange fish at the end of the hook. The fish said to the fisherman, "Please let me go because I am not a real fish but a magical prince." The fisherman said to the fish, "You don't need to ask me to do this for you. I would be more than happy to let a talking fish live free." The fisherman released the fish, and the fish jumped into the water and swam so much that even its red color was no longer visible under the water. When the fisherman returned home, he told the story of that strange fish to his wife. His wife said, "You wasted such a strange month and did not ask him to fulfill your wish." The man asked, "What wish?" The woman said, "To have a beautiful house instead of this shed." The man returned to the sea, which was now green. He called the fish in a loud voice, "O fish, I have come back to ask you something." He took the fish out of the water and said, "Tell me, what do you want?" The man said, "My wife, whose name is Isabel, likes to live in a beautiful house and does not like this cottage." The fish said, "Man, return home. Your wish has been fulfilled." When the man returned home, he saw a beautiful house with several rooms and a fireplace. His wife said to him, "Didn't it get better now?" The man said, "We can now live happily and comfortably." Everything was fine for the first month or two, but gradually the woman started to feel uncomfortable. "The number of rooms in this house is small. The garden is very small. I want to live in a palace. Why don't you go to that fish and ask him to give us a stone palace?" In short, the fisherman returned to the sea with his wife's insistence and called the magic fish. A fish came out of the water and said, "What do you want?" The fisherman said, "My wife is not satisfied with the things we have. She wants a stone palace." Fish said, "Go back to your house. Your wife is waiting for you in front of the door." The woman was standing in front of the door of the house, and when she saw the man, she said, "Isn't this beautiful?" The man saw a beautiful palace with several rooms and golden tables. Behind the palace was a garden and a large park of several kilometers. In the backyard of the palace, there was a stable full of horses and a stable full of cows. It was night when the man was sleeping. He thought to himself that they will have a good and happy life in this beautiful place forever, and he went to sleep with this hope. But in the morning his wife called him sadly and said, "Wake up." The man looked at his wife in surprise. His wife said, "I am not satisfied with this situation. I decided to become the queen of this land, and you become its king." The fisherman said, "But I don't want to be a king." The woman said, "There is no problem. I will become the king myself. Go to the fish and tell him to fulfill my wish." The man, sad and upset, went to the sea and called the fish and told his wife's request. The fish said, "Go home. Your wife has become the king." When the man saw his wife, he said to her, "Now that you have become a king, you should not have any more wishes." While sitting and thinking, the woman said, "The kingdom is good, but it is not enough. I must become an emperor." The man did everything to make his wife regret this, but it didn't work, and his wife, who was the king, ordered him to go to the fish and tell her his wish. The man's hands and feet were shaking, but he had to call the fish. He said to the fish, "My wife Isabel is not satisfied with what she has. She wants to become an emperor." The fish said to him, "Go home. He has become the emperor." When the man returned to his wife, he said to her, "Now you are the emperor, and now you are the most powerful person." The woman said, "I have to think." It was night, but the woman couldn't sleep. She was still not satisfied. The woman woke up her husband and said, Go to the fish and tell him that I want to have more power than the moon and the sun." The man said, "But the fish cannot do this." The woman looked at the man who was scared and said, "I want to have the power of God. Why should the sun rise without my permission?" The fisherman trembled with fear and called out to the fish in the terrible stormy sea where no sound could be heard. The fish was found again. The man said, "My wife Isabel wants to have divine power." The fish thought and said, "Go back to your house, to your small hut." When the man arrived home, there was no sign of that palace and everything was back to its original state. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe.